Welcome back to the Nancy Levin Show. We are diving deep into the truth behind transformation. Today's episode is one I hold especially close to my heart, not just because it's about change, but because it's about the truth that emerges when everything else falls away. We're going to talk about what happens when life breaks you open. The life you built meticulously, dutifully, desperately collapses. When the rug is pulled out from underneath you, and the identity you've worked so hard to maintain, wife, achiever, perfectionist, caregiver, suddenly disappears. It's the kind of ending that feels like an annihilation, and yet this episode is not about endings, it's about beginnings. So settle in, breathe deep, whether you are in the rubble or reflecting from a distance. This is your invitation to begin again. So here's the deal. Years ago, my marriage ended dramatically, painfully, when my husband discovered my affair through the journals he read that I had hidden away. The moment he read the journals changed everything. It shattered me. It sent me into nearly 2 years of bending over backwards, trying to do everything possible. All my people pleasing, all my peacekeeping, all my conflict avoiding wasn't enough to keep my truth buried continuously. Because when the journals were read, my truth was out there, not just the truth of my affair, but the truth of the true me who I had been hiding. Not only had I been hiding it from everybody else, I'd been hiding from myself. So yes, the reading of the journal shattered me, but it also set me completely free. And in the years since, I have walked beside thousands who have reached their own ground zero, divorce, burnout, betrayal, loss, and helped them rebuild and reinvent their lives from truth, not trauma. So today I'm sharing 3 powerful rules to remember when you hit rock bottom, and how that place you dread the most might be the sacred ground for your own reinvention. When your life falls apart, it feels like devastation, divorce, job loss, a painful betrayal, the death of a dream. It's easy to label these moments as failure. But what if they're not failure? What if they're a clearing? When something collapses, we assume it's over. But in truth, collapse is often the universe's way of making space for something more aligned, something more you, something more true. When my marriage ended, I lost more than my identity of being a wife. I lost the version of myself I had carefully curated for years, the image of the good wife, the woman who kept everything looking perfect on the outside. And beneath all of that noise, I met myself again. I had to, because there was nothing else left to hold on to. So I want to offer you this reframe. What feels like destruction is actually construction. This is the holy ground. The blueprint is being wiped clean, not because you've failed, but because the next version of you is ready to be born. So let that land. The collapse isn't the end. It's the clearing. Now let's talk about those sudden life implosions. You know the ones, the friend who gets blindsided by a breakup, the colleague who walks away from a 20-year career overnight, the woman who snaps one day and files for divorce. We love to tell the story of the sudden ending, but here's the truth. It's almost never sudden. My marriage didn't end overnight. Long before my husband found those journals, long before the tears and the packing and the silence, I was already gone. I had been abandoning myself for years. It was the only way I could stay married. The disconnection had been whispering to me every single day, this isn't it, this isn't you. But instead of listening, I pushed it down. I stayed busy. I played the part. I convinced myself I could make it work. So when the truth finally erupted, what I know is that the truth had been quietly waiting to be acknowledged. This is something I see again and again. We ignore the early warnings because we're afraid. Afraid to disrupt, afraid to disappoint, afraid to dismantle. But here's the reframe. Life rarely blinds us. The signs are there. We've just been too scared to honor them. So when everything collapses, yes, it hurts, but it also forces the truth to the surface. And from that truth, everything becomes possible. Okay, so now let's talk about the moment after everything falls. The job is gone. The relationship is over. The life you knew, unrecognizable. It's quiet. It's terrifying. And it's still. But here's what I've learned. Rock bottom is not a punishment. It's an initiation. For the first time, all the noise goes quiet. No more pretending. No more performing. No more shape shifting. And in that silence, you can finally hear yourself again. I remember sitting all alone on the sofa in my condo after we split, surrounded by silence. The identity I had clung to was gone. And in that emptiness, something also emerged. It was a voice, and it was a question. Who am I, and what do I want if I'm not trying to be who they need me to be? That question literally changed my life. Because rock bottom stripped away the illusion that I had to earn love or prove my worth or maintain the perfect image anymore. It taught me that the only thing I needed to be was me. This is what I mean when I say rock bottom is sacred. It's where you're going to meet your most true self. And from there, you don't rebuild the old life. You reinvent. And I look at reinvention as a return to the essence of the truth of who you are before you began packaging yourself to be palatable to everyone else around you. So let's pause here because this is often where we get stuck. We hit rock bottom, we feel pain, but instead of honoring it, we try to push our way out of it. We try to rush the pain to the healing. And here's the thing. What's required here is space. Space to grieve, space to get honest, space to remember who you were before the world told you who to be. This is when you honor the space between no longer and not yet. Healing requires stillness. It requires permission to stop performing and start feeling. You don't have to have all the answers right away. You just need to tell yourself the truth. Even if that truth is, I don't know who I am without all of that. That's okay. You get to discover you because the youest you, the truest you, who is emerging from the ashes, that you is built for survival and for sovereignty. So I'm going to offer you 3 practices, 3 anchors to really hold on to if you're in your own season of collapse. The first one is let go of the lie that this is the end. So instead of asking, why is this happening to me? Ask, what is this clearing space for? The second is name the truth you've been avoiding. What have you been pretending not to know? What whispers have you silenced? And the third is to reclaim the voice beneath the performance. Ask yourself, who am I if I stop trying to be good, perfect, or pleasing? These 3 questions are your compass. Use them. If your life feels like it's unraveling right now, if you're in the thick of it, if you're in the grief, the guilt, the fear, I want you to know this. You are not breaking. You are becoming. Because sometimes the only way the truth can rise is if everything built on a lie falls away. So let it. Let the pieces fall. Let what no longer is yours slip through your fingers. Because what's coming for you, it's stronger, it's cleaner, it's true. And it begins the moment you stop surviving and start living. Thanks so much for joining me here today. If this episode resonated with you, I invite you to share it with someone who might need to hear it. And again, remember, collapse is not the end, it is the clearing. Until next time, stay true to you. And I'll see you back here next week.